In 1969, the world watched as Neil Armstrong took his first steps on the moon. This incredible achievement marked a turning point in human history, yet even today, some doubt its authenticity. Could this monumental event, a symbol of human ingenuity and progress, really be an elaborate hoax? Despite overwhelming evidence, conspiracy theories persist. These theories, often rooted in speculation and mistrust, claim that the moon landing was staged. They point to perceived inconsistencies in images and data, fueling skepticism and igniting debate. But are these claims credible? Let's delve into these controversial arguments, examine the scientific evidence, and explore the importance of critical thinking when evaluating extraordinary claims. Join us as we journey back to that momentous event and separate fact from fiction. Our exploration will take us through the heart of the moon landing debate, challenging assumptions and illuminating the truth. Fasten your seatbelts, it's going to be a fascinating ride.
The moon landing, a beacon of human achievement, has been shadowed by persistent conspiracy theories. These theories, emerging shortly after the event itself, question the validity of this historic mission.
They propose that the landing was faked, a grand illusion staged to secure political dominance or conceal technological shortcomings. One of the most prevalent claims centers around the lack of stars in photographs taken on the moon. Conspiracy theorists argue that if the landing were real, the star-studded backdrop of space should be visible.
Another contention targets the American flag planted on the lunar surface, which appears to wave in the windless environment. This, they assert, is proof of a manufactured scene, perhaps filmed on a Hollywood soundstage.
Further fueling suspicions are the seemingly inconsistent shadows cast by objects in the lunar photographs. Conspiracy theorists interpret these inconsistencies as evidence of multiple light sources, suggesting an artificial studio setting rather than the natural illumination of the sun.
These are just a few of the arguments levied against the authenticity of the moon landing, each claiming to unravel the carefully constructed narrative of this historic event. But how much weight do these arguments truly hold? In the following sections, we will dissect each claim, pitting it against scientific evidence and exposing the flaws in its logic. Get ready to challenge your assumptions and embark on a quest for truth.
One of the most common arguments put forth by moon landing conspiracy theorists revolves around the absence of stars in the photographs taken on the lunar surface. They argue that in the vast expanse of space, stars should be visible in the background of these images. They question why, in the vast darkness of space, the backdrop of the lunar sky appears devoid of these celestial bodies. This absence has fueled numerous theories and speculations over the years. This seemingly valid observation, however, crumbles upon closer examination of the science behind photography and the conditions present on the moon. Understanding the technical aspects of photography is crucial to debunking this myth. The answer lies in the limitations of photographic exposure. Cameras, unlike the human eye, have specific settings that must be adjusted to capture images correctly. Capturing a well-lit image in a high-contrast environment, like the lunar surface bathed in sunlight, requires a fast shutter speed and a small aperture. These settings are essential to prevent the image from being overexposed. These settings, while ideal for capturing the bright lunar landscape and the astronauts' white suits, are not conducive to capturing the faint light emitted by distant stars. The stars, being much dimmer, simply do not register on the film. Think of it like trying to photograph a dimly lit cityscape at night. The bright city lights can overshadow the faint stars in the background. With a long exposure, the city lights will be overexposed, appearing as blurry streaks, while the fainter stars become visible. This technique is often used in astrophotography to capture the night sky. Conversely, a short exposure will capture the city lights in sharp detail, but the stars will be too faint to register. This is similar to the settings used on the moon. The same principle applies to the lunar photographs. The camera settings prioritized capturing the well-lit foreground, rendering the faint stars invisible. The focus was on documenting the astronauts and the lunar surface. Moreover, the lunar surface, covered in fine, reflective dust, scatters sunlight, further contributing to the brightness of the lunar sky. This scattering effect enhances the overall brightness, making it even harder to capture stars. This scattered light, while not readily visible to the human eye, affects photographic exposure, making it even more challenging to capture the faint light of stars. The unique conditions on the moon play a significant role in this phenomenon. In essence, the absence of stars in the moon landing photographs is not evidence of a hoax, but a testament to the constraints of photography in a challenging environment. The science behind these images is well understood and thoroughly documented, debunking the conspiracy theories once and for all.
Section 4. A flag unfurled, debunking the waving flag myth. The image of the American flag seemingly waving in the breeze on the windless lunar surface has provided ample fodder for conspiracy theorists. This apparent anomaly, they argue, is a clear indicator that the moon landing was filmed in a studio, where artificial wind machines created the illusion of a terrestrial environment. However, a closer look at the flag's design and the physics of its placement reveals a simple and logical explanation. The flag was not, in fact, waving in the wind, but rather held taut by a telescopic pole inserted along its top edge. This design ensured that the flag would be fully unfurled and visible in photographs, a symbol of American achievement planted firmly on lunar soil. The wrinkles and ripples in the flag, mistaken for wind-blown movement, were actually caused by the way it was folded for storage during the journey to the moon. Imagine unfolding a crumpled piece of paper. It retains creases and folds even when spread flat. Similarly, the flag, compacted for travel, retained its wrinkled appearance even when extended by the telescopic pole. The lack of a strong gravitational pull on the moon further contributed to the flag's rigid, wave-like appearance. Moreover, if one carefully observes the footage of the flag being planted, it becomes evident that the waving motion only occurs when the astronauts are manipulating the pole. Once the pole is set in place, the flag remains stationary, dispelling the notion of a constant artificial breeze. The waving flag, therefore, is not evidence of a staged event, but a testament to the ingenuity of the engineers who designed a flag that would proudly display its symbolism even in the challenging conditions of the moon. The moon's environment is vastly different from Earth's, with no atmosphere to create wind. This means that any movement seen in the flag is purely due to the astronauts' actions. Understanding the unique conditions of the lunar surface helps to clarify why the flag behaves the way it does. The moon's lack of atmosphere and lower gravity play crucial roles in this phenomenon. In conclusion, the waving flag on the moon is not a mystery or a sign of deception. It is a result of careful engineering and the unique conditions of space. The flag stands as a proud symbol of human achievement, undisturbed by the lack of wind on the lunar surface.
Section 5. Shadows of doubt, perspective, and the lunar landscape. Conspiracy theorists often point to the seemingly inconsistent shadows cast by objects in the lunar photographs as proof of a fabricated setting with multiple light sources. They claim that these shadows, which appear to diverge or converge, indicate the presence of artificial lighting, suggesting that the moon landing was staged in a studio. They argue that parallel shadows should be the norm if, as claimed, the sun is the sole light source. According to their logic, the sun's distant position should create shadows that run parallel to each other, much like how we observe shadows on Earth under a single light source. However, this argument ignores the basic principles of perspective and the unique topography of the lunar surface. The moon's landscape is not a flat, uniform plain. It is a complex terrain with hills, craters, and boulders that affect how shadows are cast and perceived. Just as parallel lines appear to converge in the distance on Earth, so too can shadows appear non-parallel, depending on the viewer's perspective and the terrain on which they are cast. This phenomenon is a result of the way our eyes and brain interpret visual information, especially in a three-dimensional space. Imagine standing on a hill overlooking a valley. The shadows of trees on the valley floor might appear to converge or diverge depending on your vantage point, even though the sun is the only light source. This is a common occurrence in everyday life, yet it often goes unnoticed because we are so accustomed to it. The moon's undulating surface, pockmarked with craters and strewn with boulders, further complicates the shadow play. The varying elevations and irregular shapes of these features cause shadows to fall at different angles, creating a complex pattern that can easily be misinterpreted. Shadows falling on uneven terrain can appear to bend, twist, or even intersect, creating an illusion of non-parallelism. This effect is not unique to the Moon. It can be observed in any rugged landscape, such as deserts or mountainous regions on Earth. This effect is amplified in photographs, which capture a three-dimensional scene in a two-dimensional format. The camera's lens can distort the spatial relationships between objects, making shadows appear more irregular than they actually are. Moreover, the human brain, accustomed to interpreting shadows in an earthly context, can be easily fooled by the unfamiliar lighting conditions on the Moon. Our brains are wired to recognize patterns based on our everyday experiences, which do not always apply to the lunar environment. The lack of atmospheric diffusion on the lunar surface creates a harsher, more defined shadow than we are used to seeing, further contributing to the illusion of inconsistency. On Earth, the atmosphere scatters light, softening shadows and making them appear less stark. In conclusion, the perceived irregularities in the lunar shadows are not evidence of a staged event, but rather a testament to the interplay of perspective, topography, and the human brain's tendency to seek familiar patterns even in unfamiliar environments. Understanding these factors helps demystify the shadows and reinforces the authenticity of the lunar photographs.